Hi there, my name is Chris Doman. I'm the co-founder of Chaos Security. Today I'm talking about Kubernetes and Docker forensics and incident response. Quite a mouthful there. So in terms of kind of starting this off at a high level, if you want to build a container forensic incident response plan, a few different things to do. You go to preventative measures, so security best practices. Think about how you're going to preserve forensic data and investigate it. Then you need to plan and test that too. Just like with the backups, you can make sure you can actually all your plans work. Some of the preventive measures restrict access to kubectl and the Docker Kubernetes APIs. You don't want people spinning up XMRig containers, etc., from all over the internet. Make sure you kept things patched up to date, and then use allow list as you expect. Never destroy the node of compromise. You're going to need to find out what actually happened. How did the attackers get in, so you can stop them getting to other systems? Did they take data? You may even have legal requirements to investigate things in certain industries and areas. Determine which evidence you plan to capture, have a plan for how to capture the data. It can take some time, and then how to snapshot the underlying host if you have access to it. Planning testing. Well, yeah, this is something you need to do with your team. Determine which parts of your business you need to communicate with, or the kind of standard things you need to do in general incident response anyway. And there's some particular examples of how people are compromising containerized systems. Here you see very simple things from running a local Docker command. So Docker run, in this case, they're running XMRig with a predefined mining address. Also more remotely over the Kubernetes API. Surprisingly, people still leave this open. If it's open to the internet, you can get people spinning up all kinds of things. So in this case, this is a worm we saw which scans the internet using mass scan, finds open Kubernetes APIs, and then runs itself and continues to spread. So investigating containerized environments, get a copy of the files either inside or a copy of the underlying host at the snapshot level. If it's the underlying host, Docker file systems normally overlay 2 these days, and you can go and browse through it. It's basically a version file system. The screenshot here is from our platform, Kado Response. And yeah, you can go through and see all the files. Again, version from Docker. In this case here, we're seeing a Docker log showing certain things being spun up and spun down, certain containers. I mentioned earlier, there's different Docker file systems. Overlay 2 is the most common one these days. And here you go, different version of data. In this case, you see an attacker actually compiling XMRig locally. With something like AWS EKS, then a bunch of logs can be stored potentially in S3 as well, things like some audit logs and such. The way it works in our platform, K-Response, is we can import things like EKS, ECS, and then in Google Kubernetes Engine, Azure Kubernetes service. A couple of clicks by the API will get a full copy of all the forensic data you need inside that container or the underlying VM. And yeah, if you'd like to get a trial of our platform, it is available on our website. And thank you for listening.